The video that you're getting ready to see right now is a video about a monkey named Malish, who was used in experiments at a university in Israel. They implant a number of devices into his brain. There's things glued to his head, and it's quite disturbing to see. We believe that this is quite similar to primate experimentation all across the United States in labs everywhere, including here at the University of Wisconsin. We think it is because what's being done to Malish seems to be quite similar to as we read the protocols, as we read the reports and the published papers, there seems to be quite a bit of overlap. The reason that we're having to show you a video from Israel as opposed to a video from the University of Wisconsin is because we asked for the videos from the University of Wisconsin, and they destroyed them after we asked for them. In fact, we learned that a video had been made of a series of experiments that were done in about 2002 by a scientist here named Ned Kalin. Ned Kalin is the chair of the psychiatric department here. He strapped baby monkeys into chairs and then he frightened them, and he watched their brains using an MRI. His paper was called The Neurobiology of Fear. It was published in Scientific American. Using the Freedom of Information Act and the Wisconsin Open Records statutes, we asked for copies of those videotapes, and they ignored us. They didn't even respond to our requests. We continued asking for copies of those tapes. Eventually, they decided that, no, they did write back and said, no, you can't have them. In fact, this is basic data from ongoing research. It's not true because the study had long passed. Nevertheless, they said you can't have those tapes. So we continued to ask for them. We finally got an attorney involved. She started asking for them, started filling out more formal requests, on legalese letterhead and all of these sorts of things. They started passing them on to their legal department. Then they finally wrote back and said, no, the public's interest in not knowing what was going on in the labs was more important than the public's interest in knowing. We didn't think that sounded too good, so we got a local reporter involved in that. So he started asking questions about it. Then they wrote back to him and said, in fact, we don't think those records exist anymore. We think that a year ago there was a steam pipe broke in a room that was storing 60 boxes of videotapes, photographs, documents, and that the steam damaged those records. So he asked, did you try to see the videos anyway? Were they still able to be viewed? The senior legal counsel, John Dowling, who was involved in the correspondence, said he didn't know. So we asked, what documents were destroyed? What videos were destroyed? What photographs were destroyed? They said they didn't know. They said that we kept no record of the documents that we destroyed, of the records that we destroyed. It turns out that once we got our attorney involved, actually it was when the reporter asked, I think it was, I'm not sure of the exact date. They have to keep, if there's a formal request under state records laws, they have to keep the documents in hand for 60 days. 63 days after our last request for those documents, they called a commercial company, they came in, loaded them up, took them someplace and shredded the lot. Shredded the lot. What was on those videotapes? What were those photographs of? What did those records show that they didn't want you to see? I think what they didn't want you to see is the sort of thing that you're getting ready to see in the video about Malish. Thank you.
The footage you are about to see is not easy to watch. It was recorded by hidden camera during July of 2001. This is the basement where Malish and 3 other monkeys are kept. 3 floors underground, a small room, no ventilation. 4 monkeys in small cages, with nothing to do but stare at the blank wall. For over 3 years, these monkeys are caged here for an experiment in the lab of Dr. Ehud Zohari at the Department of Neurobiology, the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, Israel. For over 3 years, Malish and his friends are kept in a state of constant thirst so that they will cooperate with the researchers. On weekends and holidays, they are deprived of food as well. Covered by a cardboard box, Malish is taken to the operating room. In the operating room are Tanya Orlov and Volodya Yakovlev, two researchers in Dr. Zohari's lab. They are prepping Malish for the operation. There is no veterinarian in the room. We will spare you the entire operation, which lasted several hours, and in which they removed Malish's scalp, drilled holes in his skull, and installed instruments in his brain, fastened with 20 screws. We will not show you how they inserted a metal wire into his left eye to align the eyeball. During the operation, Malish was not fully anesthetized. Tanya and Volodya used anesthetics that expired 6 years earlier. They also used the wrong dosage. Here is Malish after surgery. Malish, born on the Bogle farm in Israel, forcefully separated from his mother when he was 10 months old to be sold to the Hebrew University. The 3 other monkeys, Jedi, Fred, and Simon, are also from the Bogle farm, and they also underwent this operation. It is a routine operation, common in experimental brain research. Throughout the years of the experiment, electrodes are inserted into the brains of young Malish and his friends through the chambers affixed to their skulls. Throughout the years of the experiment, the monkeys are immobilized for long hours in a restraining chair. Their heads are screwed to the chair so they cannot move even an inch. We waited expectantly for the results of the experiment on these 4 monkeys. An article was published. The conclusion? Monkeys tend to categorize images by their ordinal number. Another conclusion was that more experiments are required. Monkeys tend to categorize images by their ordinal number, and more experiments are required. These days, Dr. Zohari is conducting a similar experiment, this time on 6 monkeys.